Thank you so much for joining me on the WSAZ and Now Desk. Good morning, everyone. I'm Shannon Litton here to talk to you a little bit about Fired Up Friday, weeks 4 and 5. Of course, we want to recap week 4 and then talk about week 5. And joining me, as always, of course, is the man who never sleeps, Joseph Payton. Joseph, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, man. Always happy to talk Fired Up Friday.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Fired Up Friday, week 4. Of course, we were able to go to Dawson Bryant High School. The Colgrove Hornets really bringing out their energy on a Friday morning last week.
Yeah, you know they love their Hornets in Colgrove. They love their Colgrove football. And you had the built-in rivalry game with Chesapeake, the historic Little Brown Jug on the line there. And Colgrove's had it for several years. They didn't have any intention of giving it up. When we talked to some of those guys on Fired Up Friday on the broadcast, and we asked them about the matchup and what they thought of the game. They were not shy about their thoughts and how they thought they could dominate that game. And, I think I was joking with somebody earlier. It was with Jimmy Tracy on Sports Plus. I said, they were talking some smack, and that's fine as long as you back it up later that night. They certainly did. So Colgrove had them a heck of a morning. The whole village was there, and then had them a heck of a football game that night. They end up winning 60-14, beating Chesapeake, and they're 1-0 in OVC play, and I know they want to win the OVC this year, so they're well on their way. At least you got to win the first one if you want to win all of them.
And that's an impressive score, especially considering all these kids are getting to school at 5:30 in the morning for this. Of course, I know they still had a little bit of time before the game, but nonetheless, a lot of energy to bring out to Fired Up Friday, and really a lot of energy to bring to the game itself.
Yeah, and I think they were also pretty fired up to wear their new uniforms. I don't know if you got a chance to see them, but they had an all-gray look. It looked a lot like what Ohio State wore against Penn State back in the J.T. Barrett era.
Yeah.
Really cool. I don't know if they were supposed to debut those on Fired Up Friday, but Caden Murphy had it on under a jacket, so you could kind of see it if you were paying enough
like a
attention
sneak peek
to it.
almost.
Yeah, I don't know if Coach Lucas wanted us to mention anything about it until they actually played, the ball game that night. But I'm kind of a uniform junkie too. I'm like, oh man, what are you guys wearing? Yeah, show me that. Let me see that. So,
well, and
cool.
That's always cool too. I mean, all these colleges do it, and I know it has to be a big deal for high schoolers too, because when those jerseys come out, at least on the college level, I remember being younger, and really even today, whenever those cool uniforms comes out, it's like, okay, how do I get my hands on these?
Yeah,
we want to buy them. So.
Retail version.
Yeah, exactly. So never always matches up the game version, but nonetheless, still is a cool knick-knack to have and a cool piece of memorabilia to own. But nonetheless, so let's talk here a little bit about where we will be going this week, JP. We are going to return to a school that we were at just 2 years ago.
Yeah, and it's going to be awesome because 2 years ago, East Carter was awesome. We went there for this very same weekend, very same matchup against West Carter, the Battle for the Barrel. That was in 2023. Like I said, that place was awesome. So then this spring when I put out on social media, where should we go? I think it was senior cheerleader Brooklyn Braun, from what I was told. She pretty much got every kid in the school to comment on that post and say, please come to East Carter. So what are you going to do? You can't tell them no, right? I know you were awesome last time, and if you want us to come to your school, let's do it. So, I got the agenda emailed to me yesterday. Got a chance to look at it. I'm not going to share any secrets, but
of course not. No,
it's going to be a fun morning. I know that for sure.
And even looking at the video now from 2 years ago, it's crazy to think that was 2 years ago. And again, this is, season 4,
yeah,
right?
that would have been season 2.
Yeah, so definitely a good turnout here, too. So I know you're going to have some things to expect from them compared to the first time around, but I know some of these schools are giving you a little bit of an agenda, so you have more to kind of work with whenever you get there. And I know you're not going to dive into any secrets of what they're doing, but what can we expect a fun morning? Because this looks pretty fun. I mean, all the cheerleaders out there with the glow sticks and stuff, it looks like they really put their hearts into this one, too.
Well, you can expect the DJ to be there again. Okay. I can confirm his presence, right? He's a good guy. Coach Champ's going to be there. He's going to be involved. They're going to have some, competitions as it pertains to, the best sign that's there, that sort of thing. I remember last time we were there, a lot of kids had signs that had like electric hooked up to them. They were lighting up and stuff. Logistically, I don't know how that works. I'm not an electrician, but just fun stuff like that. And one thing I'll also point out, Shannon, you think about this East Carter, West Carter matchup. The days are numbered when it comes to those two schools getting to compete against each other in all sports, and namely football, because as we've reported here on WSAZ in the past, they're working on consolidating the schools, and at some point, probably by the end of the decade here, East Carter and West Carter will become Carter County High School. They'll be the Coyotes. So this rivalry,
it's gonna. I mean,
it's
this
gonna
means
go
a lot
away.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it's special that we still have it, and the people understand that because they know the days are numbered for it, and you don't get to do this very often. So there is a sense of urgency, I think, in Carter County for either of these schools to, win the last few of them that we have.
Right.
Especially when it gets to the point where we know it's the very last one. You want to have bragging rights forever.
Oh yeah,
right?
you want to
So
have the bragging rights, and because then these are the kids you're going to be playing with when both
At
these
some
schools
point,
consolidate at some point.
Yeah,
So
maybe some of those kids are in junior high right now, but at some point they're going to be on the same team.
I can still see though this being a rivalry even when the school consolidates. Maybe you remember practice JV or JV and varsity practice and basketball at St. Joe. You always had a gold team. You always had
That's right.
a purple team. So they could still kind of do this rivalry on a much smaller scale, of course.
Maybe for a few years, but at some point it'll get to the point where that's all the kids have ever known is going to the one school, right?
Yeah.
So you won't have that divide. You'll have the middle schools,
Right.
but once you get to the high school level, everybody's on the same team.
You have to get on that same page. But
Yep.
all right. Well, Joseph, thank you so much for joining us as always. Of course, you can always catch Joseph on WSAZ Sports Plus. That airs on Tuesdays at 6:30 right here on the WSAZ app. And if you don't catch it, you can get it the next day. I believe the commercial says it's overtime on your time, right, JP? So
That's correct. And we're posting the clips all over the place.
Yeah,
So you can find it there.
So you
too.
got to follow us: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I believe there's a TikTok page now, JP. Too.
There is.
So
We're posting a lot of stuff on there.
all right. Well, Joseph, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we look forward to another Fired Up Friday this week, and we'll recap it all again next week as well. Thanks again, JP.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us here on the WSAZ Now Desk. We'll see you next time.